It is 3:14 in the morning. You are sitting on the edge of a bare mattress on the floor of a cramped apartment in Ohio. The carpet is stained in 3 places. The baseboard heater clicks and groans, but never actually produces heat. There is a crack running diagonally across your ceiling that your landlord has been looking into for the last 4 months. Through the thin wall, you can hear your neighbor's television. Through the other wall, you can hear a couple arguing in a language you don't speak. You are staring at the harsh blue light of your phone. The banking app loads slowly. Then it loads completely. And for a moment, you just sit there, completely still, reading the number on the screen the way a doctor reads a scan result they already know is bad. -$42.50. You owe $80,000 in student loans for a degree in communications that earned you exactly 1 job offer. Pouring coffee at a specialty cafe that describes itself as an artisanal experience. Your credit card is maxed out at $6,400. You used it to pay last month's rent because your car broke down the week before and you had to choose. You made the choice that kept a roof over your head. You do not regret it. But you also know that if that car's transmission blows tomorrow, and it has been making a sound lately, a low grinding whine that only happens when you will accelerate, you are not just inconvenienced. You are completely, undeniably, mathematically ruined. There is no safety net beneath you. There is no family member to call. There is no credit card with room on it. There is no savings account. There is no roommate who could cover you for a week. You are walking a tightrope stretched over a financial abyss. The platform behind you is already gone, and the wind is picking up. This is level 1. And right now, it is your entire world. Level 1, negative net worth. You are 23 years old. And by every mathematical measure available to modern finance, you are worth less than a homeless man sleeping in a Chicago underpass with $0 in his pocket. That man has a net worth of 0. You have a net worth of -$86,000. You are starting your adult life in a financial hole deep enough that even if you saved every single dollar of your take-home pay for the next 3 years without spending a single cent on food, rent, gas, or clothing, you still could not escape it. Welcome to modern American indentured servitude. Your daily life is not governed by goals or ambitions or the motivational quotes you used to repost in college. Your daily life is governed by fear. The specific, constant, low-grade fear that hums underneath everything you do like a fluorescent light you can never turn off. It is the fear that wakes you up at 4 a.m. on a Tuesday with your heart pounding for no clear reason. It is the fear that makes your stomach drop every single time your phone rings from an unknown number because you have learned from experience, that it is almost certainly a collection agency with a representative trained to be politely relentless. You check your bank account before buying a $3.20 carton of eggs at the Kroger on 5th Street. You stand in the aisle and you do the math in your head. Not because you want to. Because you have been burned before. Because you have had a card declined at a self-checkout machine with a line of people behind you, and you have experienced the specific, scorching humiliation of that moment, and you have silently promised yourself you will never let it happen again. You have a pain in your back molar that has been getting steadily worse for 6 weeks. You are not going to a dentist. You cannot. A dental visit, even a basic cleaning, is $150 out of pocket because your job at the cafe provides no insurance. A cavity filling is $200 to $400. A root canal is $200. These are not numbers you can absorb. These are numbers that mean choosing between this month's electricity bill and not being in physical pain. You have chosen electricity every time. You manage the tooth with ibuprofen and by chewing on the other side. This is your life. This is what level 1 actually feels like from the inside. You work 50 hours a week. 2 jobs. The cafe Monday through Friday, a warehouse fulfillment center on Saturday and Sunday, loading boxes onto conveyor belts for 9 hours straight. And every 2 weeks, when your paycheck hits your account, it is gone within 48 hours. Not spent, devoured. Minimum payment on the credit card. Minimum payment on the student loans, rent, car insurance, phone bill, gas. By the time the transactional dust settles, you have roughly $140 left to feed yourself for the next 2 weeks. The system is not neutral. The system is engineered to punish you for being poor. Your checking account charges you a $35 overdraft fee when you go negative, which means you now owe the bank $35 for the privilege of not having money. Your credit card charges you 26.99% APR because your credit score is low, which means the interest alone keeps you in debt even when you are making payments. Your car insurance is higher because you live in a lower income zip code, which is a policy that is perfectly legal and comprehensively cruel. But here is what nobody tells you about level 1. The hunger it produces is different from any other kind of hunger. It is not the polite, abstract ambition of a college motivational speaker. It is something rawer and more animal than that. It is the hunger of a person who has been pushed into a corner and has finally, after years of quiet desperation, gotten angry enough to do something truly dangerous to their comfort zone. You stop buying things. Completely. You eat rice and canned beans and frozen vegetables in combinations that are technically nutritious and spiritually crushing. You cancel every subscription. You find a third side gig, weekend food delivery, an hour a day of transcription work online, selling things from your apartment on eBay. You build a spreadsheet. You track every dollar. You throw every single spare cent at the highest interest debt first, then the next, then the next. It is the debt avalanche method, and you learned about it on a Reddit forum at midnight, and it is the most important thing you have ever read. 5 years pass. They are the hardest 5 years of your life. And then, one unremarkable Tuesday morning, you make the final payment on your credit card. You sit there in your car in the parking lot of your job, and you stare at the screen. Your student loans are gone. Your credit card is at zero. Your net worth is exactly $0. You have never in your entire adult life felt so profoundly, overwhelmingly rich. Level 2. Paycheck to paycheck. You are 28. You clawed your way to zero with your bare hands over 5 years of sacrifice that most people around you would not have lasted 6 months through. And your discipline paid off in ways beyond the numbers. Your credit score climbed to 720. You picked up marketable skills during those late nights. Excel, basic project management, customer relationship software. You applied for 40 jobs and got 3 callbacks and landed 1 offer. A coordinator role at a mid-sized logistics company in Columbus, $55,000 a year, full benefits, a 401k, with a 3% match. You are officially part of the American working class. You upgrade your apartment, 1 bedroom, central heating that actually works. You sleep through the night for the first time in years. You buy a 2019 Honda Civic from a certified pre-owned lot. Nothing flashy, just reliable and paid for with a reasonable loan at a decent interest rate because your credit score is finally decent. You go to the grocery store and put things in the cart. Not expensive things, you are not there yet. But you buy what you need without performing the mental calculation before every item. This small freedom, this tiny ordinary freedom, feels like breathing after years of holding your breath. For about 3 months, level 2 feels like winning. Then the reality sets in. You are on a treadmill. A clean treadmill in a temperature-controlled room with good shoes. It's a treadmill. You are moving, but you are not going anywhere. You have income and 0 assets. The $55,000 salary sounds significant until you do the actual math. After federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and your health insurance premium, your monthly take-home is approximately $3,400. Rent takes $1,200. Car payment and insurance takes $520. Utilities, groceries, gas, another $600. Your 401k contribution is $55 a month, which feels responsible, but also feels like pouring a glass of water into a lake and calling yourself a conservationist. What is left covers life's small gaps and nothing else. You are living paycheck to paycheck. You just don't feel like it anymore because the Netflix subscription is back on and you occasionally order DoorDash on a Friday night. And these small luxuries have created a psychological illusion of comfort that is not connected to any underlying financial security whatsoever. Here is the brutal truth of level 2 that took you too long to see. If your company calls you into HR on a Tuesday and lays you off, you will be in serious trouble by the end of the following month. You have no meaningful savings cushion. You have no assets generating any income. Your entire financial existence depends on one company, one manager, and one salary continuing uninterrupted. You are one bad performance review, one company restructuring, one medical emergency away from the abyss, and your boss knows it. You work 60-hour weeks because the culture demands it, and because the unspoken alternative is being considered not committed. You eat lunch at your desk. You answer emails at 10 p.m. You cancel plans on a Saturday when a project goes sideways. You do all of this not because you are particularly passionate about logistics coordination, but because you are terrified. Terrified of losing the treadmill. Terrified of level 1. The escape from level 2 is not linear, and it is not about working harder within the same system. You figure this out late one night, reading through financial forums and watching videos from people who have made the jump. The insight hits you like cold water. Everyone in your office is also on the treadmill. Your manager is on the treadmill. Your manager's manager is probably on the treadmill. Nobody around you is building wealth. Everyone is sustaining income. That is not the same thing. So you go back to staying up late, not out of desperation this time. Out of deliberate investment in your future self. You start learning skills that pay exponentially more. SQL, digital marketing analytics, financial modeling. You start a side project on the weekends. You read every book on personal finance and investing you can find. You build a second income stream that starts at $300 a month and feels like nothing and feels like everything simultaneously. You are preparing for the jump. You are no longer just surviving. You are studying the mechanism of the treadmill, understanding exactly how it is built, and quietly planning how to step off it. Level 3. The middle class. You are 35. You pushed your income above 6 figures. You make $120,000 a year at a senior manager role at a company that respects your expertise. You got married 4 years ago. You have a golden retriever named Cooper and a daughter who just turned 2. Last spring, you signed a 30-year mortgage on a 4-bedroom colonial in a quiet suburb outside of Cleveland. A green lawn, a 2-car garage, a neighborhood where people wave at each other when they check their mail. Your life looks exactly like the dream they sold you on television. And in many ways, it genuinely is. This is not sarcasm. You have worked extraordinarily hard for this life, and it is real and it is good, and you should be allowed to appreciate it. Your daughter is healthy. Your marriage is strong. Your refrigerator is full. These things matter and they are not small. But behind the white picket fence, a new and more sophisticated form of financial stress has moved in, and it is unpacking its bags. Your mortgage, a 30-year note at a rate that seems good at the time, means you owe $410,000 on a house that is currently worth $385,000 in a market that softened after you bought it. You have 2 car payments, your own vehicle and your spouse's SUV. You are paying $1,800 a month for your daughter's daycare. You have set up a $529 college savings plan for her, which gives you a small tax advantage and a large existential anxiety about what college will cost in 16 years. You have $52,000 in your 401k, which sounds like a lot until a financial calculator shows you what you actually need to retire at 65, and you quietly close the tab. The cruelest feature of level 3 is called lifestyle creep, and it happened to you so gradually you did not notice until it was complete. When you were making $55,000, a $200 dinner felt outrageous. Now that you make $120,000, a $200 dinner feels like a normal Saturday night. You take the family to Disney World, 4 days, a value resort, park tickets, food, merchandise, and the credit card bill is $6,200, which you pay off over 3 months and classify as a memory, not a purchase. Your clothes are nicer. Your coffee is from a machine that cost $800. Your weekend project is turning the basement into a home theater. None of these things are irresponsible in isolation. Together, they form a spending floor that has risen in precise proportion to your income, meaning your savings rate has barely moved. You are respected. You have a title. People ask for your expertise. At dinner parties, your job sounds impressive. But the raw truth is that you are still fundamentally trading your time for money. Your company owns your time. If you stop working for 6 months, the entire carefully maintained structure of your suburban life begins to collapse under its own weight within about 90 days. The epiphany that marks the exit from level 3 is painful and clarifying in equal measure. You realize that more income is not the solution. A raise to $150,000 will not free you. If it arrives, your spending will adjust accordingly within 18 months, and you will be in the exact same ratio of income to savings at a higher altitude, looking down at a longer fall. The exit is not upward. The exit is architectural. You need to stop treating every dollar you earn as income to be consumed and start treating a meaningful portion of it as capital to be deployed. You need to start building things that earn money without requiring your time. Level 4. High earner, not rich yet. You are 42. You ruthlessly climbed. Or perhaps you left the corporation and started as a boutique consulting firm that became a real firm. Either way, your household income is $400,000 a year. You are, by every statistical measure, in the top 5% of American earners. You have moved into a gated community in Scottsdale. You drive a Porsche Cayenne that you told yourself was practical because it has 4 doors. Your spouse drives a Range Rover. Your 2 kids attend a private school in the area where the annual tuition is $38,000 per child. You are wearing a Submariner on your wrist. Last month, your family flew business class to Italy and spent a week on the Amalfi Coast. To everyone who knows you, friends, former colleagues, acquaintances who see your Instagram, you are wealthy. But you know the truth that you have never said out loud. You are a Henry. High earner, not rich yet. And the gap between those two things, high earner and actually wealthy, is the most disorienting discovery of your financial life. Your monthly overhead is grotesque. Mortgage on the Scottsdale house, $7,800. 2 car payments and insurance, $3,200. Private school tuition, $6,300. Your housekeeper comes twice a week. Your lawn service is on retainer. Your kids are in 3 extracurriculars each. You take 4 vacations a year because you work 70 hours a week and you feel like you deserve it, and you do deserve it. But the vacations cost $45,000 annually, and that is simply a fact. When you add everything up, every recurring obligation and assumed expense, your monthly burn rate is somewhere north of $28,000. Your savings rate, despite your enormous income, is roughly 8%. Meanwhile, you are working harder than you have ever worked in your life. You answer emails during your daughter's school play. You take calls on vacation. You have not had an uninterrupted weekend in 4 months. You are experiencing a level of burnout that a clinical psychologist, and you have started seeing one, would classify as moderate to severe. But you cannot step off the gas. The lifestyle you have built, the beautiful, expensive, genuinely impressive lifestyle you have built, requires this income to continue every single month without interruption. The golden handcuffs are real, and they are tight, and they are very, very heavy. The clarifying terror arrives at a dinner party. You are talking to a man who is roughly your age, dressed plainly, driving an older model truck you noticed in the driveway. He is unremarkable in every visible way. And over the course of the conversation, you learn that he sold a software business 3 years ago, and his investment portfolio generates enough passive income to cover his family's living expenses indefinitely. He has not worked since. He woke up this morning and decided to come to this dinner party because he wanted to, for no other reason. He will wake up tomorrow and decide what that day looks like from scratch. You drive your Porsche home and sit in the driveway for a long time. The shift that breaks you out of level 4 is a radical reordering of what the money is for. You stop buying things designed to signal wealth to people whose opinion you are slowly realizing you do not actually care about. You sell the Porsche. You keep one of the cars. You pull your children from the $38,000 private school, not because you are struggling, but because you are making a deliberate strategic choice. You start directing massive, aggressive, almost uncomfortable amounts of your income into assets. Real estate syndications, broad market index funds, private equity through a feeder fund a college contact brought you into. You are no longer optimizing for income. You are optimizing for the transition from earner to owner. Level 5. Escape velity. You are 50. You cross a threshold that years ago felt like mythology. Your net worth hits $3 million. Assets generating income, not salary, not a paycheck. Income that arrives whether you get out of bed or not. You have reached financial independence. Your life looks to most people surprisingly ordinary. You sold the house in Scottsdale. You own a comfortable 4-bedroom in a mid-tier suburb. Nice, not ostentatious. You drive a 5-year-old Toyota Tundra with 68,000 miles on it. You wear plain, quality clothes with no visible branding. If you stood next to someone at a hardware store, they would assume you were a contractor or a school administrator. Nobody would guess. And that is, at this level, exactly the point. You do not need anyone to guess. You do not need the external confirmation that level 4 was so desperately hungry for. What you have instead, and there is no consumer good on the planet that approximates this feeling, is absolute freedom. Your rental properties generate $11,400 a month. Your dividend portfolio kicks off another $4,200. Your investments in 2 small businesses return a quarterly distribution. Your total passive income exceeds your total living expenses by a comfortable margin, and this mathematical fact changes the fundamental physics of your daily life. When you walk into your boss's office and you still work because you find the work genuinely engaging, not because you need the income, you carry a stillness that people notice without being able to name. You can walk away from this job today. You can walk away from this conversation right now. You have no mortgage payment hanging over this interaction. You have no quarterly bonus to protect. This freedom does not make you arrogant. It makes you calm in a way that has become your most striking professional attribute. You sleep 8 full hours every night. The grinding, physical anxiety that lived in your chest from age 23 to your late 30s, that constant low-level alarm, that background radiation of financial fear, is completely gone. You had forgotten it was there until it wasn't. The way you forget the sound of construction outside your window until one day it stops. Your money is out in the world, working continuously, compounding, reproducing. You have escaped the fundamental trap of the American working life, the direct exchange of time for money. You are no longer in that exchange. Your money is making monies while you sleep, while you fish on a Saturday morning, while you watch your kids' college graduation. The machine runs without you. Level 6, the Decamillionaire 10M 50M. You are 58. Your investments compounded quietly for the better part of a decade. Or you built something, a regional business, a tech platform, a real estate portfolio, and eventually a buyer arrived with a check that recalibrated your understanding of large numbers. Your net worth now sits at 25 billion thousand. You are a decamillionaire. And the rules have fundamentally changed. You no longer manage your own money. You have a team for that. A wealth management firm that handles 7-figure minimums, a tax attorney who specializes in high net worth individuals and knows tax code the way a surgeon knows anatomy, an estate planner who has been building your structure for 3 years. These people cost real money. They save you more than they cost. That is the calculus at this level. Your concerns have shifted entirely. You are no longer thinking about acquiring wealth. You are thinking about protecting it. Protecting it from a federal tax system that at your income tier will claim a significant portion. Protecting it from the inevitable frivolous lawsuits that arrive when someone with a large number attached to their name does anything visible in public. A fender bender A contractor dispute? A disgruntled former employee. Your attorney sets up irrevocable trusts. Your holdings are distributed across a series of LLCs with no obvious connection to your personal name. When you buy commercial real estate, and you do, because the depreciation write-offs are a tool that erases a significant portion of your tax liability in ways that are perfectly legal and largely invisible to anyone not operating at this level, the entity buying it is never you personally. Your life is genuinely and uncomplicatedly comfortable now. You fly first class without checking prices. You own your primary home outright and a second property in Florida that you visit from November through March. You can walk into any store and buy any item that exists without processing the cost. Not as a flex, simply as a neutral fact about how commerce works for you now. But something has shifted in how you think about money itself. At level 1, money was survival. At level 5, money was freedom. At level 6, money has become a tool for something larger than personal comfort. You start funding early-stage startups, small checks by your standards, life-changing capital for the founders. You join the board of a children's hospital foundation. You give $400,000 to your university's engineering school, and your name goes on a computer lab. You are thinking, perhaps for the first time with any seriousness, about what you want to leave behind. You are building a financial fortress. You are beginning to understand that its walls may outlast you. Level 7, the Centimillionaire 100+. You are 65. Your net worth is $250,000, $250 million. You exist in a world that is geographically, socially, and experientially almost entirely separate from the one inhabited by 99.9% of the people who share this country with you. You do not use commercial airports. Your security team drives you directly onto the tarmac at a private FBO terminal, and you board a Gulfstream G650 that has your preferred coffee ready on the side table and 0 strangers anywhere on the plane. You are in Miami in 3 hours. You are in London in 7. Time zones are logistics problems, not obstacles. You do not have a bank account in the traditional sense. You have a family office, a private company that exists solely to manage your wealth. It employs 6 full-time professionals, a chief investment officer, 2 portfolio analysts from Wharton and Harvard Business School, a general counsel, an estate planning specialist, and an executive assistant whose job is to ensure that the operational details of your life require none of your attention. These are not contractors or retainer relationships. These are salaried employees. Their only client is your family. You do not invest in companies. You buy them. A regional logistics firm that caught your attention last year sits in your portfolio outright. You own a minority stake in a professional sports franchise. You have direct relationships with 2 U.S. senators, a governor, and a former cabinet secretary. When you call to raise a concern about a proposed zoning change near a commercial property you own, the call is returned the same day. This is not corruption. This is the ordinary functioning of influence at the level you now occupy. But here is the thing they never prepare you for. The paranoia. Not irrational paranoia, rational paranoia, which is somehow harder to manage because you cannot dismiss it. Everyone wants something from you. Every person who reaches out, every new acquaintance, every charity request, every investment pitch, every person who is suddenly very interested in your friendship, they want something. You cannot know which ones see a human being first and which ones see a balance sheet with legs. You have been sued 14 times in the last decade. None of the cases had merit. All of them had to be defended. Your NDA stack is 3 inches thick. You look at your children, grown now, educated, provided for in ways that you could only have dreamed of at their age. And your greatest fear, the one that wakes you up at 3 a.m. with the same visceral jolt as the -42 and 50 used to, is not about money at all. It is about them. It is the fear that what you have built, this extraordinary accumulation of wealth and freedom, will do to them what poverty does to other families. Warp them, shrink them, prevent them from becoming fully realized humans who understand the connection between effort and outcome. You spend the better part of 2 years with lawyers and psychologists and trust specialists, designing generational structures that encourage work, that reward entrepreneurship, that release funds according to demonstrated achievement rather than birthright. You are trying to give your grandchildren the inheritance without giving them the ruin. You are not certain you will succeed. Nobody at level 7 is. Level 8, the Billionaire Dynasty. You did not start at the bottom. There is no cramped apartment. There is no mattress on the floor. There is no 3 a.m. banking app loaded with dread. That story, the desperate, brilliant 23-year-old who clawed their way from -4250 to a billion-dollar empire, is not your story. It is your great-grandfather's story. You have read it in the family archive, the documents and letters and old photographs that the Family Foundation catalogs and preserves. It is an extraordinary story, but it is not yours. You were born into level 8. You have never not been in level 8. Your family name is carved into the facade of a university library, an oncology wing of a teaching hospital, and 2 floors of a natural history museum. These are not vanity projects. They are markers, permanent, public markers of a presence so old and so large that it has become part of the infrastructure of American civic life. You do not participate in the economy. You are a structural element of it. Your family's holding company is a private entity that has never been public and never will be. It controls a diversified portfolio of land holdings across 6 states, a media group, a private equity arm, and a portfolio of operating businesses in logistics, agriculture, and commercial real estate that employs, directly and indirectly, an estimated 12,000 people. Your net worth exceeds $2 billion. You have not personally computed it in years. That is what the family office is for. You move through the world invisibly. You went to boarding school with children whose parents ran countries and banks and studios. You went to a university whose alumni network functions as a private global infrastructure of mutual advantage. Your wedding was attended by people whose names appear on buildings and legislation. Nobody photographed it. Your foundation dispenses $80 million a year to causes that have been selected through a rigorous process involving research teams, impact measurement frameworks, and strategic alignment with a multi-decade theory of social change. When the foundation backs an initiative, the initiative gets funded, receives credibility, and gets meetings with officials who do not take ordinary meetings. This is how soft power operates at scale. It is not dramatic, it is not visible, it is simply effective, in the slow, geological way that truly large forces are effective. You stand in the private gallery of your estate on a Sunday morning. The room is climate-controlled. The light is filtered. On the wall, in a frame, is an oil portrait of your great-grandfather. A young man, serious-faced, dressed in clothes that were new in the early part of the last century. He started with nothing. The story is that he had $17 when he arrived in this country, and a willingness to work at a speed and duration that other people found unsettling. That is the myth. The family preserves it. The family needs it. You know the statistics. Wealth rarely survives the 3rd generation intact. Shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. Every culture has a version of this saying, and every culture has it for the same reason. It is true. The inheritors spend what the builders made. The discipline that built the empire does not transfer automatically through blood. The weight you carry is not the weight of survival. It is the weight of continuity. The burden is not to acquire. The burden is to not lose, to not become the generation that consumed what was built across a century, to deliver to the next generation something more than what you received, or at minimum something equivalent, despite the entropy that attacks wealth the way it attacks everything else, that is complex and ordered and maintained only by sustained, vigilant effort. You look at the portrait of the young man with $17. You wonder, sometimes, when you are honest with yourself in the way that only complete solitude allows, whether he was freer than you, not wealthier, not safer, not more comfortable, but freer. He owned nothing, so nothing owned him back. The ultimate truth of level 8 is the one you did not expect when you were young. Absolute freedom and absolute wealth are not the same thing, and they do not always travel together. He was chasing something. You are guarding it. Both things are a kind of trap. The only difference is the view from inside the cage.